This video is about order of operations, and the one saying that you probably have heard before actually that refers to order of operations is PEMDAS. So the P in PEMDAS stands for parentheses, so that's the very first thing that you'll want to do is all of the parentheses in a problem. And you want to start with the innermost and work your way out. And then the second thing that you want to look for is exponents. So first you take care of all the parentheses that you have in a problem, and then you go on to exponents. And you're going to compute any exponents that you have in a problem. Then I have M and D written together here because it's multiplication and division, or division and multiplication. You do whichever of these two operations you run into first, working from the left to the right. Same with addition and subtraction. You do those whichever of these two operations you see first. So again, I've listed it both ways, addition and subtraction or subtraction and addition. It just depends on which one you run into first. And you work again from left to right, and you do whichever of the two operations you come to first. So now here are some examples. And our first example is 42 divided by 3 plus 4. And so order of operation tells us that multiplication and division is before addition and subtraction. So we're going to do this division first. And 42 divided by 3 gives us 14. And then bring down the plus 4. And 14 plus 4 gives you 18. Now example B is 42 plus 8 divided by 4. And so again, division comes before addition in PEMDAS. So we have to do this division. We have 42 plus, when we divide 8 by 4, we're left with 2. And 42 plus 2 is 44. Now on to example C. We have 24 divided by 6 minus 2 times 2. So again, we do multiplication and division as we see them and as we run into them, working from left to right. So we're going to do this division first. 24 divided by 6 is 4. And then we have minus 2 times 2. Now we take care of multiplication because multiplication and division come before subtraction. So that's going to be 4 minus 4, which is 0. And our last one here, we have 4 plus 8 divided by 2 times 3 minus 9. And so again, multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction, but we need to do them as we see them, working from left to right. So you have to do the division first, and that's 4 plus 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then we have times 3 and minus 9. So now we have this multiplication. Take care of that. 4 plus and 4 times 3 is 12, and then minus 9. And then we're going to continue working from left to right, doing addition and subtraction as we see them. So 4 plus 12 is 16, and then minus 9. And 16 minus 9 gives us 7. Okay, and then we want to just check those with our calculator. And since there aren't any parentheses anywhere in here, and even if there were, we would just insert the parentheses to do them. And so we can just type that exactly as it is in our calculator. 42 divided by 3 plus 4. And the calculator does the order of operations for you, and so we get 18 just like we got when we did it by hand. And then example B, 42 plus 8 divided by 4, and we get 44 just like we did when we calculated it by hand. And then example C, so we have 24 divided by 6 minus 2 times 2, and we get 0, which is what we got when we did it by hand as well. And then our last example for this group, we have 4 plus 8 divided by 2 times 3, and then minus 9. And we get 7, which is what we got when we did it by hand as well. So now here we have 24 divided by 2 plus 6, and so we want to write this in words. And when we write this in words, we're going to say 24 divided by, and then I'm going to write this as the sum of 2 and 6. There are other ways that you could write that out verbally and have it be correct as well. That's probably the most common way. Now we want to perform the calculation without a calculator. And so first you want to take care of adding these two in the denominator. So 24 divided by 8, which gives us 3. So now we want to type this in our calculator just like this. 24 divided by 2 plus 6. And are we going to get a 3 like we got when we did the calculation by hand? And we don't. We get 18. So the reason that we get 18 is because what your calculator is going to do is it's going to do 24 divided by 2. It's going to do that calculation first and then add 6. And so that's not really accurate. So 24, you could also write it this way, 24 divided by 2 plus 6, which is not the original problem that we had. So our calculator does this operation, which is not what we need to do. So now we're just going to put parentheses around the 2 plus 6, and this time we will come up with the right answer, because now it's going to force the calculator to do the 2 plus 6 first, and then divide by 8. And so you get the right answer when you do it that way in your calculator. So evaluate each of the following, and we're going to verify our answers on our calculators. And so 6 over 3 plus 3, so that's the same as 6 divided by 6, which is 1. And we'll just verify them at the end, I guess, with our calculators. That would be easier, I think. The next one, 2 plus 8 over 4 minus 2. So first do the operation in the numerator. So 2 plus 8 is 10, and 4 minus 2 is 2. And then 10 divided by 2 is 5. And then example C. So we want to work inside parentheses first. Remember, we always want to use PEMDAS. And while we're in the parentheses, we also need to use PEMDAS. And so we have both division and addition inside the parentheses. We need to take care of the division first. So we're going to have 5 plus 2, and then times 4 divided by 2 is 2, and then the plus 3. Whoops. Writing down the answer, getting ahead of myself here. And still stay inside the parentheses because we need to do all of the operations inside the parentheses first. And so we get 5 plus 2 times 5. And now whenever you have a number right next to a set of parentheses, that means to multiply. So multiplying is what we would do next. That gives us 5 plus 10, and 5 plus 10 gives us 15. 10 minus the quantity 12 minus 3 times 2, and then divide by 3. So again, we work inside the parentheses first, take care of this multiplication. We have 10 minus the quantity 12, and then 3 times 2 is 6, so that's going to be minus 6, and then divide by 3. So we still have one more operation in our parentheses, and that's to do 12 minus 6, which is 6, and then divide by 3. And so now we need to take care of our division. And so we have 10, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 10 minus 2 gives us 8. And now let's just verify these with our calculator. And so the first one is 6 divided by, and you need to make sure you put that denominator in parentheses. So put the 3 plus 3 in parentheses, and then we get 1 just like we did by hand. Now we need to put both the numerator and the denominator in parentheses on the second one, because we need to make sure that the calculator does this operation and this operation and then divides afterwards. So we need a parenthesis, 2 plus 8, and then close the parenthesis, and then divided by, parenthesis, 4 minus 2. Close the parenthesis off and hit the equal sign, and we get 5 just like we did when we did the problem by hand. 5 plus 2 times the quantity 4 divided by 2, and then plus 3. And then hit the equal sign and we get 15. Yeah, so on my calculator, I had to hit the multiplication. On some calculators, you'll just be able to hit the 2 and the parenthesis, but on my calculator, I had to hit the multiplication symbol. So I'm not sure how your calculator might work. In our next problem here, we have 10 minus the quantity 12 minus 3 times 2. And then we close off our parenthesis, and then divide by 3. And hit the equal sign, and we get 8, just like we did when we did it by hand. And now we're going to compute the following. These ones are very similar to the ones that we were doing before. We just have some exponents in here as well. So exponents is it's the first thing after parentheses in PEMDAS. And so we want to compute this parenthesis first. So it's going to be 6 plus 3 times, and you can put a dot or a parenthesis either way. And then 4 times 4 times 4. If you want to use your calculator to calculate that, you would do 4. And then on my calculator, I have to hit this XY button, and then a 3, and I get 64. So 4x raised to the y 3 is one way for you to type that in, or you could do 5. Some calculators have this symbol. It's called a caret. So you might have to use this in order to compute it as well. Or you could just type 4 times 4 times 4, and that will do it as well. And now we need to do this multiplication. So multiply that by 3, and we get 192. And 6 plus 192 is 198. Okay. And then example B. So we have two exponents here that we need to take care of, and they're separated by subtraction, and so you can do them one line at a time, or you could do them at the same time if you want. So we have 2 times 3 to the 4th is 81, so that's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, 4 of them. And then minus 5 cubed is 125. And now we multiply 81 times 2, and that's 162 minus 125. And I'm just going to do that on my calculator just to make sure that I get the right number. And so that should be 37. Okay, so example C, we have 12 minus 2 times the quantity 8 minus 2 plus 3 squared. So PEMDAS means we need to do parentheses first. So that's 12 minus 2, and then 8 minus 2 is 6, and then plus 3 squared. Okay, so there's no operation left inside the parentheses, so now I'm going to do my exponents. 12 minus 2 times 6, and then plus 3 squared is 9. And now multiplication and division are next, so I'm going to do this multiplication. I get 12 minus 12 plus 9. And then 12 minus 12 is 0 plus 9, which gives me 9. Okay, and then our last one here, we have 128 on the top. And then we want to take care of our exponents. That's going to be 16 minus 8. 2 cubed is 8. That gives me 128 divided by 16 minus 8 is 8. And 8 goes into 12 once. We have 1 left over. So 16, I'm just going to double check that and make sure that I did my calculation correctly. And yes, should be 16. So again, you can verify all of these on your calculators as well. And it might not be a bad idea for you to go ahead and give that a try. You just have to be careful that you put in all your parentheses. This denominator, you would need to make sure that you put it in parentheses if you put it in your calculator as well. And that's it for this part of the lectures, so let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.